Hello and welcome back to our study of Pnei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed Shlita. Here we are, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parshas Tetzaveh, but also Parshas Zachor. Remember to everyone that it is a chiyuv deoraisa, it is a Torah obligation for everyone to hear the laning of Parshas Zachor, so make sure that you make it to shul and hear Zachor. Many shuls will have an additional Zachor laning if for some reason you can't get there at the outset. But again, a Torah obligation, and please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah Yisrael, for Shlem L'chol Petzui Yisrael, and the safe return of our hostages. And we learn L'ilui Nishmas Seren Daniel Shimon ben Harav Daron V'Shel Yesham Yakum Damo each and every day. The next chapter, Lo Yispalo Samach L'Rabba Muvak. Lo Yispalo Adam Tfilas Amida Samach L'Rabba Hamuvak. One shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei next to what's known as your Rebbe, your go-to Rebbe. It's called a Rabba Muvhak, meaning your expert rabbi, but the one that you rely on for everything. Because if you daven next to him, it's as if you are making yourself equal to him. And if you daven towards your rabbi or near your rabbi, it looks like you are having an act of haughtiness over him. You shouldn't daven, so you shouldn't daven in front of him, near him, but also not behind him. Because there's a halacha that if someone is davening behind you and you have to take your 3 steps back, you have to wait for that person to finish his Shemona Esrei. So you wouldn't want to be matriach. You don't want to make sure the rabbi has to wait because of his student to go take his 3 steps back. And also doesn't want to look like the student is worshiping the Rebbe. So this explains why, let's say if you go to a yeshiva, you'll see they have something called the Mizrach Vant. They have the Mizrach, the eastern wall, alongside the Aron Kodesh, where many of the Rebbeim, the Rosh Hashiva, Mashgiach, they would all sit along that. And also in shuls, the rabbi sits in the front, not near anyone else. A lot of it is for this reason. I could tell you that sometimes it gets a little lonely, but I'm just speaking from experience, but that's a whole other question for another time. So we continue. Ve'ezehu Rabbo HaMuvak. So what's considered your Rebbe Muvhak? Zeh shelimdo es rov chachmaso v'chenedin biachas la'echad migedolei hador. So according to many of the poskim, it means someone who's taught you most of your Torah. He actually has a very long note here with some interesting insights, but he adds that this is the same thing regarding a Gadol Hador. If there was a Gadol Hador, that you happen to be davening the Gadol Hador, you're not going to sit and daven in front of, next to, or behind the Gadol Hador. If imhirchak arba amos, but if you distance yourself 4 amos, so 6 feet, let's say, he says shnei mitarim, 2 meters, mutter, this is allowed. V'imhu mispal acharei rabo, tzarich lisrachek arba amos v'od shir gimel pasios. And as we mentioned, davening behind the Rebbe you shouldn't do because of the 3 steps, so you should distance yourself 4 amos plus the 3 steps. And he says like 60 centimeters. 60 centimeters. So then it won't create any issue when the Rebbe has to walk backwards. This prohibition, some say, is only when the Talmud decides, he chooses to stand there to daven near the Rebbe. But let's say the Gabayim, they sat you there, or you walk into a shul and that's where they put you, or it's the only spot that's left open in the shul. Then the student is allowed to daven there. This is not considered arrogance on the part of the student. And in case of great need, then one can certainly rely on this. However, one should make every effort not to establish his place right near the Rav, not near his Rebbe or whatever it might be. We don't have this issue so much in our shuls, but I could tell you that just anecdotally, a few months ago, on a Friday night, I was davening in Kilat Nitzanim, which is in Baka, in Yerushalayim, and it's remarkable because the entire main shul is full. Men and women's sections, so much so that they have an overflow minyan downstairs, and there are gabayim that walk around and looking for every single possible empty seat, and everyone who comes in says, you sit here, you sit here. So the solution number one is, first of all, if you come on time, you won't have an issue. But this brings this halacha a little bit more to light when somebody gets stuck sitting all the way in the front or whatever it might be because the Gabayim put him there. So halavai, we should all have this issue, this problem, that the only seats left in shul are the ones that are next to the rabbi. And I wouldn't mind some company either. It's not so bad. But in any event, please continue davening for Charlei Tzvang and Israel, for Shalom Chol B'Tzvei Israel, safe return of our hostages. Nishma Sarah, the Nishma of Noam Shelley, wishing everybody a peaceful and restful Shabbos. Parsha Zachor. Remember to hear Zachor. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you here next week. Shabbat Shalom U'Mevarach.